I feel like even with transitioning into new environments, sometimes you just don't even have time to even explain yourself, even to loved ones. I think about my little brother all the time. He moved to LA to act. And I want to say he had a few weeks before he left Houston to LA. And he was like, "Hey, I'm moving to LA." And that was it. That
Mm-hmm.
like he came to me and my sister and was like, "Hey, I'll never forget." He was like, "I'm moving to LA and it's time." I knew what that meant.
Uh-huh.
His Nigerian parents probably didn't know what
Right.
that meant. And so I said, "Okay, well, have you told your parents?" And he was like, "I will when it's time." And when I say time, I mean it was like maybe 13 days before it was time to leave,
Mm-hmm.
because it was like and I don't know, and maybe that's for him to kind of respond with, but like there's gonna be some things, that you don't have time to, respond or explain because you're moving into a place that you gotta go quick. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta go quick. And it's not to, destroy the relationship that we have,
Yeah.
but it's because I have to do this for me and this
Mm-hmm.
is what I'm called to do. And I'll just have to explain later. Or
Right.
or sometimes the movement will be the explanation.
Yeah.
So like you explaining that to 8 and 9 year olds, I wonder I'm hearing their response. It sounds like it was cool. So like, do you still find yourself having to like explain, or is it like,
Well, with the transparency is everything.
yes,
You know what I
yes,
mean? Like your child said, this is grown folks' business
yes,
and saying that kids supposed to be in kids' places. Like, yeah, to a certain extent. However, their lives are being affected.
mm, like
And
that.
if they're confused, who knows what their thoughts are? I don't know what their thoughts are. I know that they were accustomed to seeing me so often, and now they're not. So I want to make sure that they're mentally okay.
Yeah,
So therefore, they're not saying to themselves, "Oh, it's my fault. I did this. I did that.
yeah.
That's how come he left because I didn't listen. He told me to brush my teeth at nighttime and I
A
wouldn't
lot
brush
of
my
kids
teeth."
feel like that too.
You know?
You know.
So that's why I feel it's important
Mhm.
to communicate with them.
Yes.
Ask them like, "Hey, how you feeling? Like, are you mad at me because
Mm.
I'm not there?" Because I want them to know it's okay.
Yeah.
As we're talking about healthy, like these are conversing with your children about matters that they're actually involved with
Wow.
is healthy.
Wow.
You know, we might not think of it
Mhm.
because I'm grown, I can do what I want to do, but that's not true. Those are little people that will too be grown, and if you mismanage them, then they're going to mismanage other people.
Agreed. Agreed. I think that the mercy that I give to the previous generation, like our parents and things like that, especially with people with cultural backgrounds, is that they honestly they were not given the space to also be transparent with their own parents. I always tell people I would say they were cohorts to the silent generation.
Mm,
That it's easy to
mm,
sweep things under the rug because
mm-hmm,
at this point, like, okay, what that person may not know won't hurt them.
mm,
That's kind of the mentality it is. And so when you're getting kids, you're raising kids in this generation and they're vocal about everything, it's like, whoa, 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 like that's not it. We don't need to discuss that. Yeah, we should. Because I think it affects all five of us in this household. It doesn't just affect you. It
mm-hmm.
affects everyone. And I think that I love that you have those conversations with your boys because you realize that, although, yeah, I'm the one that's necessarily transitioning, they're connected to me. And so why I'm merciful with the previous generation is because, like I said, they weren't given that space.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
and we all know our parents love us to death. They do. And they did everything that they could with what they had. But it's very refreshing to hear from another Black father at that, you know, to hear that, you give these boys and it's like you're like, look, I know that they're kids. And and I'm sure as a father, you're like, there's some things that, you don't gotta worry about this right now because you're
Right,
at this age. But
right,
at the same
right.
time, you're like, no, they're gonna get older one day. They're
Yeah,
gonna be grown one day.
yeah.
And I think preparing them and having these conversations, especially, that is super healthy. That's something that I wish I would have had growing up. just being able to just speak out about certain things. I didn't really start exercising that, I think, until like my late 20s. Because I don't know, it's just one day I just like, I think I want to start doing what I want to do.
Yeah,
I think I want to start vocalizing some stuff and expressing myself, because if I don't get it out, I'm just gonna always feel like this, and that's why now I have little cousins, both girls and guys, and I give them that space to just express themselves the best way that they could, because I want them to know that they're heard, they're validated, they're seen, they're honored, and they're respected, and they don't have to feel guilty about, a transition that necessarily doesn't have to do with them. But if they're connected to that person, I get it.
And they're transitioning as well.
Wow.
It's just different.
True.
It's just different.
Different
Like my
perspective.
transition was to a whole nother place. Their transition is, whoa, this parent, this guardian, this mentor, this friend is no longer here.
Right.
So everyone's transitioning, not just the person that's moving.
Right.
And that's the part that we forget. Like they say, if you point the finger at someone, there's 3 or 4 pointing back at you. Everyone involved is transitioning.
So even with that, when everybody transitioning, do you think it's important that even with just kind of assisting everybody with the transition, that you are careful with what they consume? Because I say that, and I hope that makes sense. But I know for me, with when I was coming out of corporate America into this space, or any other place that I've transitioned from, I had to tell myself, okay, if there's people that's involved in this, and I know that it will be uncomfortable for them, how do I best, I guess, what does my messaging sound like? What do I allow them to, okay, like for instance, my parents. I didn't want them to hear all the time, oh, I'm broke. Oh, I'm this. I financially need help. Oh my gosh, this is a situation that's going on. I didn't want them consuming any of that. What I wanted them to see was that I'm ambitious. I'm confident in what I'm doing. This transition is healthy. It's good for me. I'm getting into a space that can not only help me, but help my entire family. And I want them to be able to consume that. So it was very important for me to make sure that in the midst of this transition, that I'm not over here griping and groaning and getting upset because it's uncomfortable for me. And so that, I guess for me, I hope that made sense.
Yeah.
That was really, really important for me.
No, definitely controlling the narrative.
Yes.
That's just like, if I was to speculate, that's why your brother said, I'll tell them when it's time. Because he don't need anyone promoting fear.
Wow.
He could very well already be nervous enough as it is. And
Very much so.
And it's taking everything in him. Like,
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And then he tells somebody like, nope, don't go nowhere. Because did you think about this? Because in California, LA, I heard houses cost. I heard that rent is $2,000 for 15 by 15 inches.
That wasn't even my dad's problem. It was Bloods and Crips.
Like, boy, you gonna get shot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When you making moves, you don't need anyone to provide any type of negative feedback. And especially if that's going to do more damage to you. Then, they think that they're helping, but they're really not.
Yeah.
Or if they either think that they're helping, or they're serving a selfish agenda in which they want you to stick with what they're comfortable with.
But it goes back to what we were discussing with Alex. Like, you have to be careful what you're sharing. You have to be careful, because I also have to think about my health. I have to think about, like, as I'm giving or displaying this narrative, is it healthy for me to share this with this person? And that's why I respect my brother so much. With his move was very sudden, but I understand. I understand. What you're doing is not going to be understandable to a lot of people. That's just what it is. You have to just be careful with what you're sharing, that narrative that you're displaying. Because like you said, and he was so nervous.
Mhm.
He was scared.
Yeah.
It didn't show. It did not show. I tell him all the time, I'm like, I wouldn't have known you were scared
Right.
the way you moved. I mean, it was to the point that he wanted to. He drove his car to LA. He didn't take a flight.
Yeah.
He was like, I want to show y'all, like, I'm not playing. Like,
Right.
I'm moving my life.
I'm not leaving the car here.
No.
Or nothing.
I don't want any remnants of myself here, like, except for the pictures that mom and dad have on the wall.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I agree with you, you know, just that narrative, you know, because I think it also starts with us that's doing the transitions. Like, you know, what are we displaying that will make people feel the need to be consumed with that, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
So, like, I feel like, so what do you, like, okay, like, you were now moving, because I'm sure it's not just your boys, but maybe were other family members also affected, like maybe like parents or whatever, like?
No, because I mean it was just me and the 18.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I had 50-50 custody with them, and I was in Indiana. Me and their mom had moved there. It was just us. And then, you know, marriage dissolved and whatnot. So only people that I knew when I came into Indiana was my household.
Okay.
So I've transitioned before.
From Detroit.
Exactly, from Michigan to Indiana.
Facts.
So, you know, it was just us, but those my homies right there. You know what I'm saying? Those my homies. I mean, you know, I had a significant relationship as well. So you know, that was a transition, you know, in which it was just like, and fortunately, she was supportive. She was supportive in it. And, you know, that made it was probably difficult on her end too, because once again, like, I can be so focused on what it is that I'm attempting to do that I just weed everything else out.
Right.
But I'm also empathetic enough to understand that this is different and that other people could be dealing with it in a certain type of way. So I'm mindful to be like, okay, how are you?
Wow.
Are you okay? You know, like, let's talk. You know, I'm like, okay, like, all right, I know you feel like that, but can we put a pause on this one, because right now it's a lot for me as well. Because I am in the middle of it, just in a different way than you. So, like, once again, like, we're all being affected in a different way, but let's table that for later. You know, so it's just like lots of conversations.
Yes.
Lots of conversations.
Uncomfortable conversations always come with transition. I feel like that's definitely like a price that you just pay. And it's not always a bad cost, but I think that it also, I don't know how you feel, but it's a lot of personal growth as well. It definitely shows what type of person that you are when you're choosing to have these conversations with these people and just having people, because I think, I don't know about you, my goal was not for people to understand when I'm having conversations with them. I think my goal was just for you to listen. I think, of course, it'll be different because you have kids. So you're like, you want them to understand, like, look, dad is out here. I'm doing this for y'all. Yeah, I'm not just out here just doing it for fun, you know.
Right.
But I think that certain individuals, you know, in my life or, you know, in your life, whomever, the goal was really not for me to have them understand. It was just for them to say, like, for them to, it's either you support me or you don't. I'm doing this. It's not in vain, you know. And I honestly I don't have the time to explain right now.
Yeah.
You know, but I do want you to know that I just need your love and your support.
Yeah, so we had two different audiences.
Oh,
we had two different audiences,
okay.
because with mine, for the most part, it was like, yes, I need them to understand
Yes.
that, hey, now, you told me, you understand that I'm going to get money and everything's going to be okay, but I need to make sure, do you really, really know that? Do you really know that? Because it sounds good when I'm face to face with you. But are you going to feel that same way when you haven't seen me in 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks? Or, you know, maybe mom getting on your nerves and dad not here to help you through that situation in the moment that you need me to, you know. So with them, it was imperative. I'm like, it's imperative that we get on FaceTime. Like, whatever you doing, like, it don't matter. This time of the day, this day of the week, like, we need to talk.
Right.
Not saying that they make it every time. I'm not saying that they make it every time. But I do emphasize that for those very reasons. Like you were talking about corporate America and transitioning, how nothing was wasted.
Nothing.
This week, these past 2 weeks on my job, we've had a transition from a manager to them wanting to hire a new one. And in the meantime, it's been a manager by committee of all the different offices that's in Texas. And they've been drilling policies and procedures.
Okay.
To the point to where I was just like, okay, listen, I'm gonna need you all to talk about something else. But it dawned on me, I was just like, policies and procedures are really in place to mitigate error and confusion, maximize efficiency, and to ensure that it's essentially giving you the easiest way possible to get things done. So I say that to say, with, as I lose my thought, and I don't know where I was going with that now.
It'll come back to you.
Yeah. But it's just like with them, all the calling me, like, we need to talk on this day. That's like, that needs to be our policy and procedure, because who knows what has come up during the week. If we haven't at least spoken earlier in the week, at least on this day, we know that we're talking.
Okay.
So we can mitigate the grief or the anger that you could be feeling. So I'm like, okay, you know what? At this point, I was a little lenient with, like, all right, they don't pick up. They don't call. I'm not gonna, and going ham 18 hours away is ridiculous anyway. So now it's going to be a conversation. Like, listen, it's important that we do talk on these days, because who knows? What if you really have something pressing and you not even thinking about this incident that happened earlier in the week, but now it's affecting you because it's just that straw that built up on top of a straw on top of another straw. And then then one more is the straw that broke your back. And now it's this breakdown that has occurred, when that could have been absolved if you would have called on Sunday like you were supposed to, as our policies and procedures indicate. So now I'm like, it made me look at it different. I was just like, okay, yeah, we're going to have a different conversation now. And it's not one of reformation. It's more of like, allow me to help you.
Yeah. So do you feel like, wow, that was, okay. So do you feel like there, in different seasons, the conversations are always going to change because there's always something new that comes up? Because they're getting older.
Right.
So it's like, do you feel like the conversations are going to change, like the messaging?
I hope that they change, because we're in proximity to one another.
Come on.
But time will tell, like I have right now. The conversations are rather repetitive. I must say, they're repetitive. Oh, okay, I'm gonna do it. Like, okay, cool. Then they do it for a little bit. Like people New Year's resolutions.
Come on.
So they fall off or whatnot. Then they like, oh, it's about to be summer. Let me get. They start calling again or whatnot. So. I'm more hopeful that everything changes because of my mask is now secured, and I've been able to make that offer.
Wow. I think that's, I love that you said that you're hoping that it's going to change. Because, I don't think, because what served them at 8 or 9 won't serve them at 17 and 18 years old.
No,
so I love that you said that.